What if I told you there is an emotion you were born with, but society quietly erased it from your mind? Not a small feeling, not a passing mood, but a core human emotion, something as real as joy, anger, or love. And yet, you have lived your entire life without recognizing it. Why? Because the system doesn't want you to feel it. Because if you did, the fear based control around you would collapse. Today, we are going to uncover this forgotten emotion. We will trace how it disappeared, why it matters, and what happens when you reclaim it. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button right now because what you are about to hear will wake up a part of your mind that's been asleep for too long. And I promise you, the next videos will take this awakening even further. Stay with me. The truths you are about to discover may shake everything you believe about yourself. Moving it. First one, the engineered emotional spectrum. Every society decides which emotions are useful and which are dangerous. Think about that feeling you are constantly encouraged to have. Fear, so you obey authority. Pride, so you compete against others. Guilt, so you keep yourself in line. Desire, so you consume endlessly. These emotions aren't random, they are profitable, they are controllable. Now notice what's missing. Where is the emotion that tells you you are already enough? Where is the emotion that says you belong without needing proof? That one is absent, and it's not an accident. Across history, entire rituals, languages, and practices centered on this emotion were erased because people who feel whole are ungovernable, and ungovernable people are dangerous to systems built on dependency. This isn't conspiracy, this is culture engineering. Moving with next one, naming the forgotten emotion. Let's name it clearly. Unconditional belonging is the feeling of being accepted without performance, the feeling of safety without needing to earn it, the knowing that you are valuable simply because you exist. In tribal humanity, this was the default. A newborn didn't need to prove worth. An elder didn't need to compete to stay included. Belonging wasn't a prize, it was the air everyone breathed. But modern life rewired this. Belonging became transactional, like you belong if you achieve, you belong if you conform, you belong if you pay, perform, and prove. The raw feeling of unconditional belonging was buried, and so you walk through life always seeking, always proving, never arriving. That's not human nature, that's programming for you. Moving with next one, how society deleted it. How does an entire emotion disappear? Through conditioning. From the first day of school, you learn this script. Good grades is equal to good child. Obedience is equal to respect. Achievements is equal to worth. This is conditional regard. Psychology has studied it for decades. It teaches you are worthy only if you meet conditions. Later, workplaces double down. Produce or you are replaceable. Fit in or you are excluded. And online algorithms finish the job. Perform or you disappear. Conform or you are invisible. Bit by bit, unconditional belonging fades from memory. In this place, you are handed substitutes, likes on a post, flashes of attention, and advertisements promising acceptance if you buy. But deep down, you know it's all hollow. You have been taught to forget the one emotion that would set you free. Moving with next one, the psychological wound. When unconditional belonging vanishes, the cost is unbearable. You live with constant background anxiety like, am I enough? Do I measure up? Will they still accept me if I fail? You overwork, overthink, overspend. You chase approval in relationships. You bend yourself into shapes that don't fit. But overachievement silences the doubt because what you are missing isn't accomplishment, it's the lost emotion of unconditional belonging. That's why loneliness is rising. That's why depression climbs year after year. That's why so many people feel invisible even when surrounded by thousands. The forgotten emotion is the missing piece. The wood wound, you can say, you didn't know you carried. We with next one, the global patterns of erasure. This isn't just your personal story, it's global. Anthropologists have recorded dozens of cultures that celebrate emotions Western languages don't even name. The Greeks had ataraxia, deep calm. The Japanese had ame, a comfort in being cared for. Indigenous groups had rituals of unconditional inclusion. But when colonial or industrial powers spent, they suppressed these practices. Why? Because they threatened systems of labor, hierarchy, and control. And even today, corporations repackage belonging. Join our brand community. Be part of the movement if you buy. But the real thing, unconditional belonging cannot be sold. So it had to be hidden. Moving with next one, life after reclaiming it. Now imagine what happens when you remember the lost emotion. You wake up with no fear of rejection. You stop overcompensating. You no longer need to chase validation. Suddenly, relationships feel lighter. Work feels less oppressive. Loneliness begins to fade because you no longer feel like an outsider to yourself. And here's the paradox for you. When you live from unconditional belonging, others are drawn to you because you radiate the authenticity they secretly crave. Systems of control lose their grip. Ads cannot hook you. Bosses cannot threaten you. Algorithms cannot trick you. Reclaiming this one emotion changes everything. Moving with next one, the steps to reawakening. How do you bring back an emotion erased from memory? Step by step. First, radical self acceptance. Each morning, remind yourself, I belong because I exist. Replace conditional self talk with unconditional recognition. Second, detox conditional triggers. Spend less time in spaces where worth is equal to numbers. Reframe metrics as data, not identity. Third, rebuild ancient practices. Explore communities that prize presence over performance. Join circles, meditations, or friendship where you are valued for being not doing. Fourth, heal the nervous system. Notice when fear of rejection spikes. Pause, breathe. Remind yourself this is programming, not truth. Fifth, redefine success. Stop chasing external approval. Define success as alignment with belonging, not numbers, not applause. This isn't self help fluff, it's psychological deprogramming, and it works if you practice. Moving it. Next one. Why power fears this emotion? The biggest question, why erase this emotion? Because unconditional belonging is unbreakable. If you don't fear exclusion, you cannot be manipulated. If you don't crave approval, advertising collapses. If you don't doubt your words, hierarchies lose their grip. The single emotion dismantles entire systems of control. That's why it had to vanish. But here's a secret for you. Once you reclaim it, you are free. And when enough people reclaim it, society shifts because belonging spreads and freedom is contagious. Moving with next one, the closing truth. You were not born broken. You are born with a full spectrum of human emotions. One of them was unconditional belonging. It was erased by design, replaced with conditions, metrics, and illusions. But you don't have to live in that cage. You can remember, you can reclaim, and once you do, life changes forever. So here is the choice for you. Keep chasing approval in a system that will never give it, or awaken the forgotten emotion and finally feel what it means to be a human. If this message spoke to you, don't let it fade. It's just dive right now because truths that once remembered cannot be taken away. Share this with someone you love because maybe they have been waiting their whole life to remember too.